We're at Disneyland today, guys, and boy, is it busy. I want you to join me as we tour the park and show you some never-before-seen crowds, and where I'll also ask you to help me find ways to plus up the park to make it even better. We're going to every land, every attraction. This is our State of Disneyland Report. This is Fresh Baked. Nothing quite like starting a Disneyland day off with the Disneyland band here at Town Square and the Disneyland Railroad Station. We're back again. I said that already once when we were doing a State of DC report, but I feel like it's different when I'm doing a report from Disneyland proper. But here we are, top of Main Street, or bottom of Main Street, depending on how you look at it. And we're about ready to get into a State of Disneyland report. I've been looking forward to this for quite some time. I've been nonstop ruminating on all things Florida, but we are here back in our home court, as it were, ready to take you guys on a tour around the park and catch up on what's happening around the Disneyland Resort. Let's get on to Main Street and do a little vibe check. I can tell you right up front, as we head down the steps on our way to Main Street, that Main Street was half bonkers when I was shooting a little B-roll this morning before this show began. It was very intense, but we're ready. We're ready for this day. Hello, everybody. Welcome to State of Disneyland. I am your host, David. This is going to be a walk through the entire park, every land, every attraction. We're going to talk about what's new as we reach specific parts of the park, share a little bit of the news, what's happening in the parks, plus take a look at the queues, do a little queue science, maybe get something to eat, maybe go on a ride, we'll see. This is our State of Disneyland report. And presently on Main Street, the state is busy. It's very dense, but it's kind of quiet and subdued, but very dense right now on Main Street. And I expect this to be the case as we make our way throughout the park. It could even get worse. You may or may not be able to see it right now. It is 11 minutes to noon. It is 11:49 on a Monday afternoon or Monday morning. For sure, this is busier than I would say that we've seen Disneyland in the last couple of weeks, or the weeks prior to going to Florida. Everything right now is like a before and after Florida situation for me, it seems like. But the reports that we're getting while we were gone and in the days after that have been that the parks have been quite busy. So this is to be expected, and I have a feeling, I think it could be because of the reservation calendar, which, well, they've opened up dates, I believe. You know what? Let's get back to the Main Street station. Let's get back to the top of Town Square and take a look at that reservation calendar. We'll begin with the single-day ticket calendar for regular guests, and as usual, it is completely wide open. Today, by the way, is the Tier 2 day. Tier 2, $142, which is kind of, I think that's going to bode poorly for our efforts in there today. I think it's going to be a busy day today, just based on what we've seen so far, as we discussed earlier in the vibe check. But I feel like it's going to be pretty busy in there. At 142, that's a pretty affordable rate by Disney standards. Completely wide open, though, obviously for April. Just a few days left, but May is also completely wide open, including the May 16th and the week, the week following that. That's the first week of the 70th anniversary. There's no shortage of tickets available as of yet, and I expect that to remain to be the case. That is by design. Disney's doing that there. Well, that's another conversation I don't want to get into. Let's look at the Inspire Key, and we can see that the last 3 days of the month are sold out, including today. It's not too, actually the 28th, when I was looking at the calendar earlier, because I was trying to get a date for Wednesday, I think, the 28th was available this morning, but it's since become unavailable. But same-day reservations have been possible recently, which is pretty good for the Inspire Key. Looking at May, I'm kind of surprised. I'm kind of surprised to see how open May is. Just what, 1, 2, 3 dates. Just 3 dates are sold out, with the 17th, the 16th, and 17th with DCA starts only, which I'm surprised those dates are actually even available, considering that's the first 2 days of the 70th. Those were sold out for a long time, but Disney opened those up. As a matter of fact, I think we alluded to that. We expected that to be the case in our last State of Disneyland report, and there was a good stretch there, a good week or two, where reservations were completely available for that entire week, and they remain to be the case now. Like I said, it is the 16th and 17th are DCA starts only, but still, that's that's pretty cool that we can actually do that. I feel like perhaps they're not getting the results. You know what? I don't even want to get into making assumptions, because every time I do that, I am corrected, and that Disney is constantly getting what they want, I think, because they keep. Well, it's been more difficult than ever to make reservations for Inspire Keys, which is, I guess, why I'm saying this, why I'm saying, gosh, that's surprising that we actually can make a reservation. So that's May. Looking not too bad at all. One thing that never changes is my love for Main Street vehicles. No matter how busy the parks are, no matter how intense things get, Main Street Disneyland is just about the best place you'll ever want to be. And we got one lonesome Dapper Dan crossing the street. Where's the rest of those Dans, I wonder? I don't know. Right, so I feel like there might be something to that. The fact that the calendar is less or more open than it has been in quite a while, and the parks are a little bit busier than I was expecting, I feel like there is a possibility that there could be a relationship there. Difficult to say. It's always so hard to predict what Disney's plans are, what their internal numbers say, but there could be a connection. One other thing that I want to talk about before we get into our report proper, before we get into Adventureland, is on the new scanning. The guests are at the main entrance. We reported this on Monday in our construction report, that there's a 100% implementation happening right now where guests are scanning themselves into the park. It used to be the cast member would take your picture. Hi! Guests are now doing that with their phones or with their magic bands or what have you. And it does appear to still be affecting how long it takes guests to get into the park. We arrived today a little bit later than we normally would, or a little bit later than we did when we did the construction report, where the line was down to the middle of the Esplanade. We got here a little bit later, so it wasn't quite as bad, but you could tell that it's adding a few seconds to each process, which by itself is not a big deal and individually, but I guess they probably could add up if you get more and more people into the Esplanade. This is going to be a short-term thing. It's something, there's a learning curve for not just cast members, but for guests, actually more so for guests, trying to get used to the way that we're scanning to the park. But I do feel like it's going to work itself out. I will say, in comparison to how we've entered other parks, Universal, Knott's, etc., it's still way better. I have to say, it's still superior to those parks. I have the hardest time getting into Universal. They'll scan my pass, I do the thumbprint or the fingerprint thing, and sometimes I've had to scan my fingerprint 5-6 times sometimes. They just can't get it. And they're like, no, you're holding it too hard, or you're not holding it hard enough, or something, I don't know. So this is not a new thing, having difficulty getting to a park. They're gonna get this worked out. Let's go to Adventureland. And it looks like the day has come, you guys. They've closed the Tiki Room. Today is the first day of the closure. This is kind of exciting, I have to say. This is kind of exciting. They're closing it. They're going to update the whole show. They're going to update the show inside, and they're going to update the pre-show that happens outside. Specifically, the little, each Tiki god has a little moment, but it's Tangaroa, and when he calls for the leaves to fall, that's going to be restored. That's one of the effects that's going to come back. They're going to upgrade all the animatronics inside and make a better show in there as well. But that's what's happening out here. So the walls are up, and we won't be able to go on the Tiki Room probably for a month or so at least, I think. There's no date on the calendar right now. And perhaps even better news, something we also reported on our construction update on Monday. We're actually doing something here in the restrooms. Though it looks like the walls have come out a little bit. That's what we saw them working on in the construction update. They have since added the forms are up, a little bit of a wall layer there. So something is about to happen at the Adventureland restrooms. Could we be getting remember those emerald rocks, you guys, from way back in the day? I feel like they haven't been here in 100 years, but it was just been a couple years, but it feels like it's in the ancient past. Those emerald rocks that were in front of that were in front of those restrooms, and guests could kind of sit there and wait, and man, I miss those. I'm looking forward to seeing those come back. And it looks like the crowds have come back to Adventureland for sure. We've been coming through here from time to time while Indiana Jones was closed, and it was kind of barren. Felt like no action here whatsoever. Hi guys. But things appear to be cooking here in Adventureland because Indiana Jones is back. starting though at the Jungle Cruise. There are guests up there. There are guests on the top level on the left, guests on the top level on the right, but it's roped off out here in the entrance and they've turned the sign around. So I guess that means it's closed. Temporarily closed. There you go. He said it. So I don't know if they're cycling boats. It looks like that boat is empty right there, but there are guests in there. It could be that they have dumped the queue, which is a rarity. You do not see that happen hardly ever here at the Jungle Cruise. They hardly ever have to dump the queue or close it for very long. Anytime that I've ever seen it closed, they've let people stay in there because it doesn't take long to reset. So that's kind of surprising. I have to wonder what could be happening on the Jungle Cruise to force them to do that. Let's see what's happening next at Indiana Jones Adventure. What I'm seeing here is a posted 50-minute wait time. Oh my gosh, are we gonna do the thing right now? You guys, are we gonna do the thing that we do every State of Disneyland Report that we haven't been able to do in a month or more? Are we gonna walk to the back of the queue? Man, this feels like home, does it not? This feels like old times. And that is a very full queue. You're going to expect to find all of that, or most all of that 50 minutes. They are using everything. It's down to the bottles and past that. So this is a full experience. You're getting the full Indiana Jones experience, which is to be expected. It's been closed for a long time, so people are eager to go on. But it's posted 50, and I would say it's probably in that neighborhood. The attraction reopened on Friday. We were here doing our construction report. We were actually able to get into the attraction just after a ride closure. There was an early ride closure, and we got in right after, so I didn't have to worry about standby. We walked right on. But later on that afternoon, there were images posted on social media of, get this, the standby queue was all the way down to the Tiki Room, which I can't remember it ever being like that, except for maybe like at Rope Drop before they've opened up the extended queue back there, where the first batch of guests, maybe then, and that's about it. It's been a long time since I've seen a standby queue reach the Tiki Room. Meanwhile, across the way, I caught a whiff of the Bengal barbecue cooking. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm really hungry, and I noticed this very extensive queue for standby. That looks like quite a wait. This queue is now out here into wild space, getting into the common walkway there. That's intense. What's even more crazy is that if you want to do a mobile order, it's for an hour from now. It's noon, so it's high time to be ordering food, but Bengal barbecue is between 49 and 64 minutes return time, unless of course you use our hack, the refresh hack. But let's just say you're a common guest and you're not doing that. That's a long time. Even for Bengal barbecue, which is a very popular dining location here, it often has a longer return time than other locations do for mobile order. But I was surprised to see it at an hour. So that's another indicator that we're looking at a very busy afternoon here on this Monday. Same story out here in front of Pirates of the Caribbean. Same story. Standby is very deep, where it's out there into wild space. The back of the queue is mixing in. Oh boy, that's fascinating. The bridge looks complete, very tight, very packed. This path down here is posted at 35 minutes. Look at Lightning Lane, you guys. Look at Lightning Lane. Wow, there's a queue at Pirates for Lightning Lane. Incredible. It is still in play, by the way. Lightning Lane is still in play here at Pirates, which suggests to me that they've learned enough and that it's going to stay. Whatever test that they were doing before for those 4 days, they learned enough, and I feel like Lightning Lane is going to stay here at Pirates. So let's just see where the rest of the standby queue goes and see if it's anything like 35 minutes. I would say with Lightning Lane the way it is, 35 minutes would be out here into the extended area, or towards Tiana's, but it's not. That's actually all of it. That's actually way not as bad as I thought it was going to be. When I saw 35, when I saw how dense the queue was and how it was out there into wild space, I thought maybe they were, we were in for a long wait, but it looks like they haven't flexed. Oh, it looks like they just started. They just opened it up. I turned around and they had just opened it up. How fascinating. It's so common that when we do this, we're like, oh, that doesn't look right, and then they fix it. Now, some might see that and say, oh gosh, Disney needs to get their stuff together and they need to react. And I see that, I'm thinking, Disney does have their stuff together. They are reacting, it's happening in real time. We can see them adjusting to the pulse of the crowds. almost immediately. You would never see another park act that quickly to a distress signal like we saw out there in front of Pirates. It would take them, well, I mean, sometimes they just, at Knott's, they just put up random numbers on there. I don't even think they know, for real. Let's come back and check. Let's see how effective that maneuver was. Because this is right about where we're standing now, or walking into this space. The standby queue was starting to come out into the space a little bit. And sure enough, it is certainly, it's less dense as it was before. And guests are now into the pen, the proper queue, as they should be. Even though it's the roped off queue, it's extended. They are where they should be, and things are moving a little bit more spaced out again, so that's good. And now I'm hungry, so I'm gonna start thinking about or making plans to get some lunch. But today is April 28th. In 2 days, I don't know if you've been watching on social media. I have been on Instagram, etc. And I've been saying, oh my God, it's just been constant alert, alert, alert. All kinds of new food is coming to Disneyland on April 30th in just 2 days, starting on Wednesday. And I'll be here on that day, hopefully. I'm trying, that's why I was trying to get that reservation. I'm trying to get the 30th. There's gonna be a whole bunch of new food, and we're probably gonna do some kind of tour of the food there on that day, preview some of that. But there's a lot of good looking stuff, and hopefully we're gonna be able to try it all. Stay tuned to Fresh Baked. We're gonna be eating a lot this summer. So lunch is in fact on. I'm starving. And we wound up going to the Stage Door Cafe. Well, we placed our order at the Stage Door Cafe, but we're eating here in the Golden Horseshoe because there are no tables anywhere out there. It is so busy out there right now, and that includes the dining area out in front of the Stage Door Cafe. So we brought it in where there's plenty of tables here at the Golden Horseshoe for obvious reasons that we won't get into. But we're trying the Caesar wrap today because I'm trying to eat as many things as I haven't had before or in a very long time. So we got the Caesar wrap. It's lavish. It's a lavish wrap with romaine, kale, pepitas, white beans, crunchy corn kernels, cotija cheese, and Mexican Caesar pepita dressing. I'm not familiar with some of those things. I don't eat a lot of kale. I'm not a fan of kale. I don't like the texture. I don't know what a pepitas is either. What else? I'm down with the crunchy corn kernels. I'm down for the cotija and the Mexican Caesar pepita dressing. There is your Caesar wrap. Cheers, Fresh Baked. Well, I would say first off that that's just about as I might have predicted. It's very heavy on the lettuce and kale textures and flavors. They're very crunchy. A little light on the sauce, which actually I appreciate. Although I would have liked a little bit more of the dressing. I definitely don't like it when they put too much on it, which is the case, especially with Caesar. You go to Boardwalk Pizza and Pasta and they put way too much dressing on there. I'd rather leave that up to me. I'd rather to be less than more. But it tastes, pretty much as you might have expected it would. The tortilla's nice. But the other notes are kind of missing. I'm not getting a lot of the white beans or the pepitas or even the kernel corn. And I think part of that could be, it's not a very structurally sound sandwich. You can see that after just taking a few bites, a lot of it has fallen out into the dish there, and it's a lot of the smaller items, the corn, etc. So they come out the back end of the wrap and into the bowl. So we'll want to get a forkful of that and try some of these. You can see the white beans and the kernel corn. It's in there somewhere. I think it's, yeah, there it is. There you go. Right there. Let's see if that changes anything. Ew. It would have been quite lovely to get that into my sandwich or into my wrap. That's really good. But I am again getting that a little light on the dressing note. And I don't think they sell this dressing or offer this dressing on the side. I don't know if you could ask for more, but you could probably get some Caesar dressing. I would think just regular Caesar. All in all, I really actually enjoyed this. And this is especially coming from somebody I'm a meat and potatoes kind of guy. I like cheeseburgers. I like pizza. I like protein in my foods. There's no protein in here at all, I don't think. It's no chicken or anything. But I'm still enjoying this. Now, having said that, it's just a Caesar wrap. It doesn't come with any kind of size or anything like that. So it's not gonna fill you up probably, but that's good because that means that we get to go out and find something else to eat later on in this afternoon while we're continuing our report. maybe we'll find a treat somewhere else. For now, I'm gonna finish this Caesar wrap and not enjoy a show here at the Golden Horseshoe because there aren't any. Cheers, Fresh Baked. Sorry guys, I forgot a couple things. One, the wrap is $10.49, which is a decent price, probably a little overpriced for a wrap with no protein in it. $10.49. You can also get it here at the Golden Horseshoe. It's available because they share a kitchen. Available at both the Golden Horseshoe and the Stage Door Cafe. And as a meal, I'm gonna give it 4 out of 5. It's pretty good. Back in New Orleans Square, and it looks like they've gotten things sorted out here at Pirates. Much more organized. Probably have extended that queue back there a little bit more, but things don't look nearly as intense. I mean, it's still very crowded right here. There's a lot of people, but there's a very clear separation between the guests that are just flowing through and the guests that are in the queue, which you like to see. Still looks like things are pretty busy out here, pretty intense as we make our way to the second half of New Orleans Square. I'm expecting a long wait there at the Haunted Mansion. I'll tell you what, since the Haunted Mansion has come back, it's been a return of this familiar packed situation as you make your way back there towards Critter Country. It was always such a site of congestion right here. So let's see, well that's actually not too bad, you guys. I'm seeing a 40-minute standby right now for Haunted Mansion. And we'll just take a quick peek into the queue. The guests are walking freely around what I call, Leota's Garden right here. There's no backup there at all. There is, I can see through the little portal right there, that guests are backing up inside the garden. But that's pretty nominal. That's not bad at all. And I would say just a smattering right now of guests coming in through Lightning Lane. That's 40 minutes, you guys. That is 40 minutes. Possibly less, actually. That looks pretty good. I would, that's a go for me right now. At Haunted Mansion, that's a go. I like the looks of that. I like it anytime you can skip parts of that new extended queue. Anytime you can skip, especially the part that wraps around, we should go look. We need to go look. We have to do that. Ah, yes, even better. You gotta come look at the greenhouse section back here. This is 7 minutes right there. This queue space is about 7 minutes. So not that you could take 7 minutes off the 40 minutes that's posted, but if you're adding up the segments, if you're adding up how long it takes to do the rear queue back there, the graveyard situation, I don't know what else to call that, with the tombs, etc., and the extended queue out here, if you add up those sections and apply a minute to each one of those sections, you don't have to add the 7 minutes there. So I'm trying to remember off the top of my head because I have done recon here. I want to say it's like 10 and 17. And maybe 22 minutes right now. I would guess maybe 22 minutes. Maybe, yeah, to get to the door. Maybe 22, 25 to get to the door. Not bad at all. This though, well, look at this. It's kind of busy right here too. A lot of folks coming over from Critter Country on their way either from Galaxy's Edge or Critter Country. Perhaps they have just finished their ride on Tiana's Bayou Adventure. I got one look at the queue at Magic Kingdom when I was visiting in Florida. I got one look at the standby queue for Tiana's, and I have to say, holy heck, their extended queue outside is enormous. It's enormous. It's that entire situation on the other side of the tracks of the Magic Kingdom Railroad. I couldn't believe it. It was 75 minutes posted when I got there. The line was out, towards Big Thunder. Standby was incredibly busy, incredibly popular attraction out there. I don't know if that's because of Lightning Lane or not, but certainly there is still high demand for Tiana's Bayou Adventure at Magic Kingdom and here at Disneyland. Let's go take a look at the posted wait time. Does look busy back here. That's 55 minutes on the sign right now. It is kind of chilly. It's kind of overcast and gloomy today. We're maybe low to mid 60s, so it's not exactly warm out like it was at Magic Kingdom. So 55 minutes is probably a pretty good time, or a pretty lengthy time, I should say, for Tiana's today. I would, under normal conditions, you might expect it to be less busy than this. How long has Tiana's been open? on either coast. I'm now we're factoring in Florida stuff now more than we ever have before. I hope that's okay. But it's been open for a while and it's still drawing a huge crowd. I feel like you can say that even though it's not necessarily a bigger deal than Splash Mountain was, they haven't lost any traction. Neither here nor at Magic Kingdom have they lost any traction, any sort of demand for this attraction. It's still going very well. Well enough out here at Disneyland that they can use Extended 1, oh my gosh, and Extended 2. We haven't seen them use Extended 2 in a while. Last few trips through here, it's been empty back here. So that's a pretty good day, a pretty good showing for Tiana's Bayou Adventure here. Let's go to Lewis's Critter Club for a second, because I love this gift shop. So well done, so well designed. I love the colors, I love the lights. I love the little thematic elements. If you look up into the top deck there, they have a bar. See that? You can get some fly juice here with the frogs. He's having a martini with a bug in it. See that? He's got a bug in his martini also. They all do. This is the Lily Pad Lounge, and I absolutely love it. I think it's the best. Speaking of popularity, this gift shop is very popular right now. Very busy in here. Mostly Tiana's merchandise. There is, I mean, like everything that we're looking at in frame right now, this is all Tiana. As you get closer to the Pooh corner side of things, you start to see the other plushes, and we'll keep going in that direction. There's Bernadette, Sebastian, and Claude. And we are now in the middle section of Pooh Corner, where this was Plush Central. Just when did this happen? This used to be all plushes. You can see they've moved them into Tiana's over there, and now we're seeing merch. I mean, like not merch, clothing. It's actually kind of a cool. That's not. That's not a Spirit jersey. It's just a sweatshirt, which I appreciate. I think I'm over Spirit jerseys. And then, of course, there's always a huge crowd here at Pooh Corner. Look at the lineup. The queue is going back this way to get some tasty treats. This is where you get your Tigger Tails and your Honey Pots. There you go. Wonderful. I absolutely love Pooh Corner. I love Pooh Corner the way it is this one here, but I also do love Lewis's Critter Club. Well done. When we walked into Disneyland Railroad, all right. When we walked into Critter Country, I observed that the Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh attraction was closed, which has been a common occurrence since the reopening of Tiana's Bayou Adventure. And it is still closed now, but if you listen, the music is up. The music is up, so we're gonna apply some of our recon knowledge, our park science, and sure enough, yes, there they go. I was just gonna say, we're gonna jump in this queue right now and beat the rush, but we're actually a little bit late. But still, that's cool. This is something that we have sort of worked into our recon, is that when you see a ride breakdown, there's certain signs that you want to look for to know whether or not you should hang around or if you should maybe come back later. The number one clue that the attraction is about to reopen, and I mean imminently, is the sound, the cue music. When they bring that up, they're ready to go.
And legs inside, and grown-up tights. Please watch your little kids. Hi. Man named Winnie the Pooh. It's Happy Wednesday. Right this way. Steal honey. Beware. Wake up!
Good to see that they've got the water running back there, the waterfall on the other side back there, creating a nice stream here. Pooh Sticks Bridge and Pooh Sticks River are exhibiting as they should. This land, this space is always so much better when the water's flowing here nicely. You can actually play a game of Pooh Sticks right here on the bridge. I don't know if you ever have or not, but just go find a stick, you and a friend, find something that you can drop off into the river at the bridge, and then you can race them all the way down the river to the end. See who wins. Okay, well, it's 1:22 in the afternoon, and before we leave Critter Country, let's take a walk through the Hungry Bear, see how things look there. Hey. That would be the Hungry Bear Barbecue Jamboree. And it looks like they've got a bit of a standby situation happening here. That looks like the back of the queue right there. So busy time to be trying to get some barbecue here in Critter Country. Yeah, that's a good 30-40 minute wait right there for Hungry Bear. I'm curious, as I often want to know. Let's see. What is Hungry Bear is presently at 42 minutes return time. Busy as heck up here as usual though. Often difficult to get a table. I heard that somewhere. Hi guys. Yeah, it's very competitive. But
Fresh baked.
hi guys, hi. I will say that you are generally going to have better luck if you go towards the back here. Boom, one was just left. But that looks to be about it. Maybe one back there, yeah, the very back next to the sign. Oh, here's one right here, there's another one. Oh, there's 3 tables back there. Okay, perfect, yeah, see what I mean? Just keep walking, you'll find one eventually. But I love sitting here, this is just perfect. I love to sit right here. These are some of my favorite seats. You got the Mark Twain, which is coming just down the way there. You can see that, perhaps. The canoes are not operating again today. I didn't look. They're not on the refurb calendar. They don't show them as being closed. There she goes. There's the Mark Twain. But now check this out. I pulled up the list on the app, and they're everywhere. I heard it. I think he's on the Mark Twain somewhere. I don't know. I heard it somewhere. But yeah, if we scroll, it doesn't show up. The Davy Crockett canoes are nowhere on the app, but they're not on the refurb calendar. If you go onto the website, if we go to, let's see, shoot. But if I go to the website, Center for Disneyland, here's today's calendar. Go to close for refurbishment. See the Tiki Room, Small World, Lincoln. But where's the canoes? Where's the canoes? What is the state of the Davy Crockett canoes? I don't know. That's a great question. I may have to check in with my friends over at Theme Park IQ to see if they can shed some light on that. In the meantime, we'll head into Galaxy's Edge, check in on things there, check in on Rise of Resistance. I'm expecting something an hour plus. I was actually expecting to see the queue out here in Section 4, or at least Section 3, considering how busy it is out there today. But no, that's kind of surprising. It's barely in Section 2. That's just one little switchback right there in Section 2 that's full of guests. And then it's Section 1. That is unexpected. That is a go situation, provided we don't see anything untoward in the Lightning Lane queue, which I don't expect we will. But that is a very advantageous situation for standby right now. And while it's not completely empty, there are 5 or 6 guests down there. That's really light for Lightning Lane. There's nothing to speak of there. So I would expect the wait time to be somewhere around 40 minutes. Hi guys, how are you? Not posted, obviously, my wait time. I think that's about a 40-minute queue, but they're posting it here at 65 minutes. That is not 65 minutes, that's about 40. And that is Chewbacca roaming the streets here in the Resistance side. He is just incredibly, hi guys, incredibly popular. Chewie is. Oop.
Or is that a different one?
Looks like Ray's coming to meet him. They're gonna hang out for a bit. You know, something that always troubled me about Force Awakens, and perhaps you guys can already guess what I'm gonna talk about. At the end, they're victorious, right? They have that big, incredible moment and they defeat the First Order temporarily. They come back to their base. Chewie and Rey get off the Millennium Falcon. Carrie Fisher, Princess Leia, is waiting for them. And Leia goes to hug her husband, father of her children. The main character for one of the main characters for the Star Wars trilogy has died. And Princess Leia, and her best friend, his best friend for life, is Chewbacca. Those two have been together longer than Princess Leia and Han were together. But Rey and Chewbacca exit the Millennium Falcon, and Chewie just walks, he goes right by Leia, and she goes for Rey, and they hug. Nothing for Chewbacca. That never sat well with me. That never sat right with me. She needs to go say, I'm sorry, and all that. Chewbacca and her need to have a moment first, which of course is a perfect segue to get into our Tipboard. We're gonna find a spot over here at Docking Bay 7 and take a look at wait times around the park. But good luck with that. I have already passed through here and I just wanted to show you guys there's no seats except for like these right here, which I'm gonna pass on. There's no tables. Look at this. That's the back of mobile order right here. Good heavens. Oh my gosh. Never in my life have I seen a queue like this for mobile order at Docking Bay 7. All these guests, hi guys, how are you? Never have I ever seen, usually there's 4 or 5 guests. Like on a bad day, you're waiting right here. That's on a slow day when things are busy and you gotta wait 4 or 5 guests. I've never seen a queue go out the door like that. Meanwhile, there are no tables in here either. It is just as packed as it is outside. I don't know, this is really, really intense, you guys. It's a busy, busy day here in Galaxy's Edge. I gotta say, don't let anybody tell you that people are over Disney and Disneyland. Don't let anybody tell you that the demand is gone and that nobody wants to come here anymore, because there's nothing special happening. It's just a regular Monday in April. No events going on. This is before the 70th. You would think that maybe some people would hold off because they want to wait until the 70th. This is not that. It's just a Monday. There's no holiday. There's nothing happening. The kids are in school. And it is jammed up here at Galaxy's Edge, where, by the way, it also isn't typically this jammed up. There's an exceptional crowd happening right now at Disneyland, and I am here for it. Well, I did a couple laps and wound up finally finding a table out here. A good thing is there's no sun out. A good thing is there's a lot of cloud cover because I am completely exposed, no covering at all, which is not ideal, obviously. Let's get into the Tipboard here. Alice in Wonderland, 35 minutes. Pretty good. Astro Orbiter 25, Autopia 30. These are all pretty little on the high side. I would say higher than average. Big Thunder 55, higher than average. The break point there is about 40-45 minutes for Big Thunder. Buzz Lightyear 35. Standard to a little higher than standard. Casey Jr.'s 20. Chip 'n Dale's Gadget Coaster 40. Dumbo 30. I would have expected that to be a little higher, actually. Finding Nemo 35, pretty standard. Haunted Mansion 55, pretty standard. Still, man, Haunted Mansion 60. I don't even know how many years old that thing is. We more than that, 65 by now, maybe. Is that right? No, 60. What did we go to? We went to the 50th, so now we're probably 55. I can't remember. Yeah, it took a while for Haunted Mansion to open. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is that it's impressive that after that long, that's still such a popular attraction. Hyperspace Mountain is closed. Indy, nominal 50, nominal for Indy, right? Jungle Cruise is back open. They got that up and running, 30 minutes. Mad Tea Party 10, Winnie the Pooh's 20, Matterhorn 40. Wow. I'm surprised. That's low, considering the rest. How is it that there's a 40-minute queue to pick up your mobile order here at Docking Bay 7, and there's also a 40-minute standby for Matterhorn? That is unexpected. Runaway Railway is closed. Hopefully that's open by the time we get there. Let's see. Smuggler's Run is 50. I have no idea if that's going to be accurate or not. Even if we go look, I'll still not know. Toads is 20. Peter Pan 40. Okay. Pinocchio 20. Pirates is a mystery. I never know what that exactly means. Does that mean it's coming off of a closure? It was 35 when we left. Pirates Lair. Pirates is 35. Of course. You all are like making fun of me right now in your heads. Roger Rabbit's 50. That's about what you would expect from Roger Rabbit. Even when it says it's 30, you go in there and it's still 50. Snow White 25, Star Tours 20. Rise is now up to 75. They bumped it up, even though we just walked back there and we saw standby in section 1. And they bumped it up 10 more minutes? Interesting. Interesting. And then Tiana is up also. They bumped that up to 65. That was 55 when we left. Busy day, return time 3 hours. Everything is cooking right now. Did we look at Matterhorn for... Pirates return time is almost 2 hours. Matterhorn is... Smuggler's Run is 30 minutes. Where'd it go? Can't tell for Runaway, but that's set at 2:20. Matterhorn, 4:10, 2.5 hours. These are not bad. Indiana Jones, I forgot to check Indiana Jones. 8:20, there you go. 7 hours, incredible. And we can't check Hyperspace, although that's set for 4.5 hours from now, almost 5. So I would say it's a busy-ish day for Lightning Lane. There you go, take care. Guess we'll be checking out Millennium Falcon, and already, look at this. That's a pretty decent showing here. In the common area out here of Galaxy's Edge, lots and lots of guests walking about. No sign of Luke. It doesn't look like he's out at the moment, but it is very busy here. What do you guys think of that? 50 minutes. 50 minutes, do you guys believe it? Personally, I do not. Usually is not the case. But then again, sometimes I'll walk in here and I'll just see a queue, just makes me turn around and laugh and get the heck out of here. Oh look, Luke is here. As I was making my way around the corner to go ride Smuggler's Run, I found him underneath the Millennium Falcon. Not drawing a big crowd. I wonder what that means. What does that mean as far as Disney is concerned? You see, I was of the opinion that this was going to be something of a pilot to see what the response was of guests to Luke, and not just in terms of. I mean, people want to see Luke in here, but would it be too many to allow more characters to come into the park? Would there be too much response? Could it be too popular? So that they thought, well, gosh, we can't have him walking around. He's going to clog things up. It's going to be an issue. Guests getting into his space, perhaps. He would require a handler. There is no handler out here that I could speak of. Hi, guys. You bet. I don't see a handler. Usually, the popular ones have one. Boba Fett. I think he's got one still. I'm not sure. But this is actually at or maybe less than what I see when Boba Fett or even the Mandalorian walk around. I don't know, man. This could be a good sign that we might get to see more characters walking around here, more legacy characters walking around Galaxy's Edge. Let's go check on Smuggler's Run and see if that 50 minutes is accurate. Well, the queue is moving up there. I mean, or did it stop? Is that where it stopped?
Your control manual system check.
Ish.
See what they can do.
Yeah, that's the back of the queue right there. I'm on the fence on that. I don't know what to call that. I don't know if I can call that. I don't like to see it there, but as long as Lightning Lane's not a problem, you're good. You're not that far off, really. You're really not that far. Yeah, I don't see any. There is a cast member here, but I don't know if that's the character cast member or if it's just a general cast member that's kind of in the area. No R2-D2 either. He does not have R2-D2. I feel like R2 draws a bigger crowd than Luke is right now. And he's still roaming. Fascinating. And for what it's worth, he is more than enough Luke for me. That's more than enough. He looks fine. I guess that about covers it from Galaxy's Edge. Oh, there we go. We got some storms. You know, this is what we need. Okay, so here's the thing. I have, so far I've been more or less capable of refraining from comparing Disneyland to Epic Universe. But that has just brought up something for me. Went to Epic. Specifically, I want to talk about the Isle of Berk. How to Train Your Dragon. That line, or that land, that universe was just, every square foot was full of theming. It was beautifully designed, beautifully done, details everywhere, little experiences that you could have in every corner, multiple attractions, characters roaming. Everywhere you looked, there was something happening, and it was beautifully executed. That's the land, that's the universe that has me drawing comparisons to Disneyland, specifically to Galaxy's Edge, where that was supposed to be the case. That was promised. They were talking about reputation and characters walking around, and it never really happened. You hardly ever even see those guys up there. You hardly ever even see stormtroopers up here on the catwalks, etc. You see them down here in the street, and that's fine, that's good. I enjoy that. But it's this kind of thing that I think they need to be doing more of, a lot more. There needs to be characters here. They need to be doing this show more often. This should have something going on, not just this static, droid cleaning area, I guess. Maybe this is a bath area. This needs to be active. This needs to be alive, not static. They could be adding things in these little corners right here. You could have some sort of static display with a character set up here, perhaps another marketplace type situation. That right there is begging for something. If Disney wants to respond to Epic Universe, it's not by building a new land that covers up a historic section of a legendary park like Rivers of America. Don't do that. Give us more here. Do something. Do something right here. There was a show here, opening day. They did this whole battle, Chewbacca and Rey and Stormtroopers. There was a firefight. I'm not expecting pyro every day, although they could do it. I don't see why not. They could. They just chose not to. They choose not to, but it could be done. But there's a lot of unused space that should be more alive. That's the thing that I noticed about going to Isle of Berk, was how alive that universe felt compared to Galaxy's Edge. You don't know. I have said more than once, I actually love Galaxy's Edge. I think it's great. But when you look at it, you see the omissions now. When you see what happens when they do a land that has been completely finished. Berk is completely finished. Perhaps it won't stay that way. Perhaps they won't be able to maintain the vigor and the amount of show that they're putting on right now. Perhaps they won't last, but they did at least start that way. They never got that far here at Galaxy's Edge. There should be a character here every 30 minutes for 10 or 15 minutes on stage. They're out here for 15 minutes just talking to guests, just like that guy at the Isle of Berk. There should be a character here. There should be stormtroopers or something, or I don't know what, walking up there, going up and down the stairs, interacting with the environment a little bit. There should be something happening. There should be movement. There should be action at certain intervals, 4 or 5 times a day. Back here at Rise of the Resistance, they've got these 2 ships set up here. This would be a great spot for additional show. In fact, they used to do something. Occasionally, you would see a cast member or Chewbacca up here just pretending to work on the ship, but this would be a great opportunity for scheduled entertainment. Like a little 5-minute choreographed bit that they could do here. Same thing over there. I feel like that was their plan initially. That was their intention, to put some kind of live show, not necessarily a show, but just something going on here, some sort of choreographed thing. Characters here to meet and interact with guests. This spot over there by Kylo's ship, and then the maintenance yard, those are perfect opportunities great opportunities. They could really do some fun stuff. They could really do some really exciting stuff. It would draw guests in. It would make you say, did you catch that show? Did you see that part? Were you there when that thing happened? But there's not a lot. You can't ever say that. What's bringing guests into Galaxy's Edge? Hi guys. The only thing that's bringing guests into Galaxy's Edge right now is Rise of the Resistance and Smuggler's Run. But that's why you don't see as much traffic here. You don't see as much foot traffic. You don't see as much people just going. It's always less busy on the streets here than it is in the rest of the park because there's nothing happening here other than the two attractions. It's very, I hate to say it, but it's very Knott's Berry Farm. Like it's busy in the queues, but not busy in the streets. And you need something to get guests just to pass through here and see, to walk through. I think that would add a lot of life, a lot of revisitability, and people would say that they would enjoy being in the land more. I mean, I feel like that should be the goal a little bit. Lots and lots of potential here in Galaxy's Edge, and beyond even this, but that's just the low-hanging fruit. You could do a lot of stuff here. You can create a lot more, interesting energy and movement, etc. And to sort of wrap up this conversation, while I was shooting the review of the Tipboard, you could hear music. There's a DJ playing music overhead, and when they finish the song and the DJ gets on there, he says that's from the Galactic Star Cruiser, the Halcyon. And I suppose that does still exist in universe, in canon. It does still exist, but I just felt like, oh man, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? And that's Galaxy's Edge. Let's take this show into Fantasyland, take a tour of the dark rides, see how things are looking there. I'm expecting wall-to-wall guests, and it looks like that's what we're getting so far. Busy day here at the Disneyland Resort. Love to see it. Let's do a little dark ride roll call. Oh, check out Pinocchio. It's a virtual walk-on. I can't even see a guest. It is open. Can't even see a guest in there. You can see lots of guests though here at Snow White Scary Adventure, posted 25, back of the queue out here into the outer switchbacks on the border of reaching out here into the open space. That's a busy attraction. Peter Pan working at what looks to be near full capacity. 2 open chains back here, but that's not much. That's just 1 or 2 minutes. So it's looking pretty deep here, posted at 30, but I would say that that's pushing the limits of reality. That's actually one of those cases where I would say it might be over that. It might be 35 minutes. Mr. Toad's has escaped its confines back there. They're out here into the temporary expanded queue. That's not a good sign for Toads. Posted at 20. Again, that's pushing the limits. If you're out here in these white roped areas, you're looking at 25 or 30 probably. That's not going to be the dream queue that you're hoping it will be for Mr. Toad's. In the non-dark ride realm, Dumbo, it looks like it's posted at 30 minutes. But looking at the back of this queue, I'd say that's manageable. That's a manageable queue for Dumbo. I'd get in there. That's a go situation. Not quite as go as Casey Jr. right next door. It's out here into the Dumbo space. They're running just the one train, so that's going to take probably 20 minutes right there. But the people are in the streets of Fantasyland. Wow. Look at it go. Toads looks like a breeze right here. Back at the queue is just popping into the circled area, so that's easy enough. That's maybe 3 rotations tops, maybe 4 tops, probably 3. And then our last stop here on this little stretch would be Alice. We saw it posted at 35. And that would be this queue. They would post this sized queue at 35. Historically, that's what I've seen. But it's not. It's more like 20. And that says 30 from that point. But this is a breeze. This queue moves a lot faster than you think it will. All in all, Fantasyland is where you want to be right now, I think. That's probably the most advantageous situation that I've seen all day today is right here in Fantasyland. We got one more Storybook Land over here on our left. Standard. 20, 25 minutes. As long as it's not out here in the open area like out here, you're in good shape. The walls have been pushed out. These were pushed in a little bit further when we were here on Friday doing construction, and the walls are down. Oh, awesome. The walls are down over here in front of Small World. That's an interesting development because if you've heard from our construction reports, they had pushed back the reopening date. Small World was supposed to come back by the end of April. I think it was the 28th that they had it returning, but they pushed it back until May 5th, I think it was. I'm not sure exactly, I have to look it up, but the fact that they pushed it back suggests that they were behind schedule, but now we're seeing the walls are down, so maybe they're closer to finishing than we had initially thought. That's great, I can't wait. I missed Small World so much. Look at that, we can walk right on up. They've got some cast in towers. They're maybe doing some ride testing. There's water on the track. That's great. Water is in the track. And that's the Disneyland Railroad ringing us in on our way to Toontown, where I'm going to put a 5 on the fact that it's going to look exactly like it does every single time we come to Toontown. 50 minutes at Roger Rabbit, 35 at Runaway Railway, provided it's open, 45 to 50 at Gadget's Go Coaster, and a whole bunch of people walking around enjoying themselves. All right, we'll start with Roger Rabbit, where it says 40 minutes on the board, but people are leaving. This feels weird. There's nobody in Lightning Lane, and I just saw a bunch of guests walk out, but then they're saying, yeah, it's open. We even checked.
Did it before I calls a cop on you.
Okay. Yeah, there's the back of the queue right here at the prop room, standard. But I do love the look of that Lightning Lane queue. Excuse me, guys. It's interesting, they put a rope out here. They don't typically do that, even when it's busy. I wonder what precipitated that, because in order to put a rope up, that means the queue must have gone out there at some point. Fascinating. Well, I can already tell that I was wrong about Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. I had said 35, but it's significantly more than that. If we're out here, you're looking at an extra, I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes out here in the exterior queue. Oh my, this is the back right here. I've actually come around, there we go. That's the whole queue. So it's 40, 45 at the door, plus 10 or 15 out here. Posted wait time is 65. That's pretty wicked for Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. Not standard, abnormal. This is that kind of day, it seems. And I was right about a whole bunch of people walking around. Can I even, here we go, let's see. All right. Let's go. There's Pete doing some autographs. Good to see Pete out here. Oh, well, that's interesting. I've never seen this before either. The Minnie's House meet and greet queue, they're not running it down, which they should. They've let it grow out here into the street. Oh my goodness. Hi. That needs to be reconciled, I think. That's something that they need to turn that queue down the street. I'm not sure why they aren't. Meanwhile, 30 minutes for a Mickey meet and greet. Looks like Gadgets is posted at 30, but I would second guess that as well. Back of the queue is right here at Chip. This is going down for a refurb soon, by the way, about a 10-day refurb. But yeah, that's probably about 30. And as mentioned, it is otherwise very intense. This is opening days type crowds that we're seeing here. I'm having a hard time just walking through the land. It's very, very full here. Well, I've escaped, guys. I've made it out of Toontown, back into Fantasyland to check in on an OMG-looking situation here at the Matterhorn bobsleds. Based solely on the posted wait time there of 70 minutes, the queue doesn't actually look all that impacted. This looks fairly standard. We're left of tree? No, we're tree. Right of tree. That's actually kind of light, but that's not the problem. I'll give you a guess. on what the actual problem might be. And if you guessed a lightning lane queue of about 60 guests, you called it. And something you might notice as we pass by the standby queue is guests, hi guys, leaning up against the rails, sitting on the rails, trying to find some way to get comfortable up against the chains, sitting on the ground. They have been here a while. They have been here and they're not moving. Yeah, this isn't even that deep. This queue is not that deep. This is light for standby. Strictly speaking, with respect to just the actual number of guests that are in the queue. There's not a lot of guests in standby. If I saw that standby queue walking by and I didn't see anything going on with lightning lane and the posted wait time set 30 or 40 minutes, I would definitely, absolutely get in that queue. But that posted wait time of 70 is a red flag. Normally I say, don't look at the, disregard what you see on the sign and make your own conclusions. But what they're telling you is stay away. They're telling you don't get in this queue, which is kind. I appreciate them doing that. Seeing those guests, if you see guests sitting on the ground, that might not be the best time for you to be getting into that queue. We'll keep going to Tomorrowland. Pretty standard queue there for Finding Nemo. On a busy day, that's not that bad actually. On a busy day, you might find these chains out here in this part of the queue filled with guests. We've seen it also extend out into the walkway on a busy day. So this is actually kind of nominal. This might be your discounted attraction. I would expect also when we arrive at Autopia to find that to be something of a discount. I mean, it's posted 15. Thought that it would be a discount, but that's even more than I had expected. The standby is going into the rotunda, so they are setting them that way, but it looks like they're circling right around. I don't see a lot of, yeah, I can see the guests making a U-turn over there, but it's not, it's just movement. That's slick. Great find for people here on a busy day like today. That's a great find. I would absolutely take advantage of that situation. If I were you right now in this park, I would be getting on Autopia. Never mind that half the people don't like the attraction. I think Autopia is amazing. I love it. I love driving through the countryside or whatever, through all the trees. I love the sound of the vehicles. I love the smell of the vehicles. I don't mind any of that. I think Autopia, it's a legacy attraction. It's an opening day attraction. It's a Walt Disney attraction. What's not to love? If you love Disneyland, that should be right on your scorecard of things to do. Walking up to Space Mountain, I had forgotten completely that Season of the Force was happening. We're still Hyperspace Mountain. Guys, Season of the Force is still going on at Disneyland. That's probably an indicator that I go to Disneyland too much. Because I'm sure for everybody else that's here, they're like, yeah, Season of the Force, of course. What are you talking about? I got my Tauntaun popcorn bucket or my Baby Yoda or whatever, and I got all my merch, and I'm wearing the gear, and I'm having a great time at Season of the Force, and I'm like, isn't this over yet? It feels like it's been here forever. What we saw on our way in was a 70-minute posted wait time for Hyperspace Mountain, and I am kind of perplexed by what I'm seeing right here. This is unheard of. I've never seen this, I don't think. I'm trying to wrap my head around this and I just can't. Obviously, the interior queue is 100% full. It's out the door. God, people do really want to hang out for Season of the Force, don't they? But okay, why are they, is that normal for them to use these switchbacks first? To send the guests, let's see, we're gonna go up and then just come back. Right, that's it, just the one switchback. They're gonna go up, they're gonna reach the door up there, and then they're gonna come back, and then they're gonna go into the exterior queue. Normally when I see this queue back up, it backs up into these queues, into these switchbacks, into these chains, and it runs that way. I've never seen that before. That's new for me. I mean, I wanna say, and this is a no-go, I wanna say don't get in that queue, but I mean, you're here for Season of the Force, right? You're here to, this is why you come to Season of the Force, is to ride Hyperspace Mountain. So what am I supposed to do? Say don't get in there and don't enjoy Hyperspace Mountain, don't have fun at Season of the Force? I wish there was a better situation, but I don't think. That's bonkers. You know, part of this is due to the breakdown earlier today, I think, because that backs up Lightning Lane a lot. You get all those folks out there with their MEPs, and then the regular Lightning Lane guests show up. So that's something that, I mean, you're just gonna have to suck it up. I've measured the door to the vehicle, and it's something like, it's close to an hour. So you are looking at 70 something minutes there if you're out here in this space. Stopped in the Star Trader for some reason, and I was observing all these Kenner and Hasbro toys, and it made me reflect back on my childhood. Look at this. There's a TC-14, just straight up out of our youth. I would have loved to be able to get some of these toys. Look at this. They've got a Streets of Mos Eisley set. Comes with a Jawa. Yeah, that comes in the pack. And you've got the little the eye thing that, you know, the chick at Jabba's palace. It's the vintage collection. And that is just A+. My inner child is screaming at me right now. Not so much these, not so much that. It's the Kenner and the Hasbro. I don't even know what these are. I mean, these are just the figurines, but they're neither Kenner nor Hasbro as far as I can tell. But those are okay. It's the, my goodness. It's these guys right here. They're actually on the shelf. Who makes this? Is this? It doesn't say. I don't see, like this guy's got a Kenner on it, and this guy is a Hasbro, but even this I wouldn't even, I'm not crazy about that. That's the Black Series. They've been making these for a long time. My gosh. There was a brief moment in time when the Ninja and I, Ninja is my eldest, he's 22 now, but when he was little, we used to do Warhammer. We used to love to buy the Warhammer characters, paint them, and create little scenes, little battles, and then you could buy, you know, little arrangements so that you could create a field of battle, as it were. And that's what I was seeing on that toy right there, was because they on the display on the box, it shows it on a sandy terrain. The box doesn't come with the sand. You got to build your own, but it makes me want to do that. Seeing that toy and seeing that image on that box makes me want to go get some sand and do a little make-believe with the Mos Eisley set. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. I feel young right now. Okay, Buzz Lightyear. You can't see it, but I can. That sign said 40 minutes for Buzz Lightyear, and that is all due to, it's a big Lightning Lane day, guys. Big Lightning Lane day. Look at that. Disney's winning. Hey guys, on the Lightning Lane front today. No end in sight for that. I'm sorry to report, but that's okay. We'll make we'll do our best. That's why we're here, to help you guys figure out ways to beat Lightning Lane if you so choose. But you could just go ahead and join also and get yourself a Lightning Lane. I used to argue against it, but I don't anymore, because I know how important it is, especially if you're here just once or twice a year. This queue is excessive. It's reached its max. This is the most. That's the most. Hi guys. So if you see those two sections filled, that's as deep as it's gonna get, and then it starts to, this may not even be 40, this could be more. If this queue gets any longer, it could easily be more than 40 minutes. Not Lightning Lane queue, oh boy. Okay, Star Tours is posted at 30 minutes. I don't see the same Lightning Lane queue, that's it right there. There's only 3 or 4 guests. People are just kind of rolling in. That's not bad, you guys, that's not bad. The Star Tours is a great option right now. If you're trying to find something to do, Star Tours is a great option. This looks good. It goes without saying, when I say it's a great option right now, I don't mean that this video is going to be relevant to the people who have already been in the park here 2 days. Hi guys, it's 2 days ago. What I mean to say is, if you're in the park in the future, obviously, and you see a queue that looks like that on a day that looks like this, that's what I'm saying. Use that as reference for your future visits. Oh, and also don't sleep on Astro Orbiter. This is a very beneficial queue right now. This is a win. This is a bonus. 4 of those switchbacks are empty right now. You're looking at maybe 3 or 4 rotations, 20 minutes probably for Astro Orbiter, and it's a very underrated attraction. And that's coming from a guy like me who doesn't like spinning attractions. Those aren't my favorite. I'm a dark ride guy, that's my thing. But I love Astro Orbiter and Dumbo for 2 reasons. One, it's just so Disney. It's like the quintessential Disneyland ride, right? It goes all the way back. This is, opening day attraction, same, well, Dumbo's ish. I think it opened shortly after the park did. But those rides are just classic Disneyland experiences. But I love the views too. The views are wonderful from the Astro Orbiter. If you just keep looking straight, so you gotta make sure you just keep looking straight so that you can enjoy the view. Whereas when I'm on it, I got the camera and I'm trying to look behind me and stuff like that, and then I want to hurl. The views from Astro Orbiter, I wish they were back there. Oh boy, wish they were back there in the heart of Tomorrowland, but the views from Astro Orbiter are great. I love looking out over here on the hub and everything, and same for Dumbo and Fantasyland. Do it for the views. Last stop, Frontierland. Stopped in the Westford Ho just to see how pin trading was going.
The silver is 13.
It's going very well. Oh, look at that. I don't often look left when I close the show here in Frontierland. I'm always just heading straight for Big Thunder. But they've taken down the scrim at the Golden Horseshoe, and yeah, it does look like they have inverted the color scheme. And when I say inverted, it's actually more like it was when the Golden Horseshoe first opened, with the sort of blondish color up there as opposed to the darker orange that it used to have, and then the blonde lettering on the Golden Horseshoe. Now it's inverted. Looks clean, looks sharp. I am still objecting to buying a meal at the Golden Horseshoe though. I'm gonna try as best I can to wait until they actually have live entertainment back at the Golden Horseshoe. I will not go back in there until that's a reality. Even though I did just go to the Stage Door Cafe. That's different. The Stage Door Cafe is different and separate from the Golden Horseshoe. Even though I ate in there, that's only because there's no tables. 35 minutes for Big Thunder. I mean, yeah, okay, I get in that. And it doesn't look like bad. This is just, it's probably up and back. So that's probably fairly accurate. It looks worse than it is. This attraction actually is not, it often is the case where you're like, oh my gosh, that looks like it's gonna take an hour, and it takes 30 or 35. So I'd just pull up a chair here along the rivers of America, maybe wait and see if Mark Twain goes by while we relax. I'm really tired. I'm still recovering from the week in Florida, which I'm gonna do it again in another few weeks, but really enjoyed our time today together, Fresh Baked, you and me. Really enjoyed walking around the parks with you guys and sharing some of my thoughts and some of our education with you. I hope you guys enjoyed. It's been a great day. It's busy, but it's still been very enjoyable. I thought this was a very winnable park today in a lot of ways, and I hope we have helped you in your plannings for your future visits to Disneyland. Thanks for joining me. If you get a chance, be sure to check out our last State of DCA report. We had a great report there as well. Check those out, and then if you haven't already, check out some of our Florida reports. Could be a good chance we're going to be doing more of that in the future. Otherwise, thanks for watching, everybody. We love you. Be safe out there. Be kind to one another. Fresh Baked.